When working at height, never put yourself in a position where you could fall more than 2 meters in length, and we should only ever put ourselves into 3 positions. 1. Fall restraint, where we cannot fall at all except onto our backside. 2. Limited free fall to a maximum of 600 millimeters fall distance. 3. Free fall arrest, from 600 millimeters to a maximum of 2 meters fall distance. All fall arrest equipment has limitations, and it is up to you to inspect the equipment before you use it. Wear it to the manufacturer's instructions and check the shock absorber label for lanyard length, maximum weight capacity, including the clothes, boots and tools you are wearing, maximum shock absorber deployment length, and the maximum free fall distance. Free fall is the distance you will fall before your fall arrest system begins to slow you down, or before you begin to feel force on your body. The shock absorber's maximum free fall distance is critical, as a free fall of more than the maximum distance means the equipment will be working outside of safe limits. When using fall arrest equipment, one end of the shock absorbing lanyard is connected to the D-ring located between your shoulders at the rear of your body harness, and the other end to an anchor point. If the anchor point is the same height as your D-ring, then the free fall distance will be the length of the lanyard. If the anchor point is higher than your D-ring, then the free fall distance will be shorter than the length of the lanyard. To calculate this, work out the distance between your D-ring and the anchor point above, and then take this number away from the length of the lanyard. This is your free fall distance. If the anchor point is lower than your D-ring, then the free fall distance is measured by adding the length of the lanyard to the distance between the D-ring and the anchor point. In other words, the higher the anchor point, the shorter the free fall. The lower the anchor point, the longer the free fall. Always try to tie off as high as possible above your D-ring to keep your free fall at a minimum. Once you know your free fall distance, you then need to ensure there is sufficient distance beneath you to ensure you do not hit a lower obstruction or the ground in the case of a fall before the fall arrest system is fully deployed. A properly calculated fall arrest system will protect a worker from contact with any lower level or obstructions. To calculate the distance required, add the length of the lanyard to your height. Add the deployment length of the shock absorber, and lastly, add on a safety factor. In this example, the safety factor is 1 meter. The deployment length is defined as the distance it takes for the shock absorber to activate and slow your fall. It is based on your weight, the free fall distance, the type of lanyard and any applicable standards. However, the instructions for your shock absorber will usually provide a chart to help determine this distance. The safety factor is the distance from your feet to an obstruction or the ground below at the instant the fall is arrested prior to any bounce back. Consider this example. John is 1.8 meters tall and weighs 100 kilograms. He is working on a ledge on the side of a building. John is wearing a fall arrest system and his shock absorbing lanyard is 2 meters or 2,000 millimeters in length. He has tethered his lanyard to an anchor point on the side of the building above the level of his D-ring. To calculate his free fall arrest distance, John calculates that the height distance between his D-ring and anchor point is 500 millimeters. He takes this number away from the length of his lanyard. John's free fall distance is 1,500 millimeters or 1.5 meters. Now John has to work out his safe working height or required distance. He knows the length of his lanyard fall is 1,500 millimeters. He adds his height and a safety factor of 1 meter or 1,000 millimeters, which equals 4,300 millimeters. John consults the shock absorber chart and sees that a free fall distance of 1,500 millimeters has a shock absorber deployment length of 600 millimeters. He adds this to the 4,300 millimeters and confirms that his safe working height must be at least 4,900 millimeters or 4.9 meters above the nearest obstruction or ground below. In the event your fall arrest lanyard has been involved in a fall, it must be immediately removed from service and never used again. There is no such thing as keeping it for a second use, and when in doubt, tag it out. Your life is too important.